Okay, so today we've got this one, and we're going to make an Inkscape document so that we can easily do all the different names. So this is going to be lots of fun. Okay, I've created the concept folder and the actual folder for the artwork in the drive already. And I've got it listed on the spreadsheet. And now I'm going to make sure I have a folder on my computer that's set up the same way. So I'm going to do Wildcats here. This is going to also be like a beginning intro to Inkscape tutorial. So we're going to go through that process of, downloading fonts, setting up Inkscape and getting started with that free software. So I'm going to make a folder called concept here. And I'm just going to put this file, I'm just cutting it, Control X, Control V to paste. Okay, so let's start out in Photoshop. I'm going to start in Photoshop. So load that baby up. We'll right click and open this with Photoshop. Oh, I'm struggling here. All right, there we go. And let's just start by painting all around this. So we're just going to select that color. My brush is on like full hardness. And I'm just going to carefully, oops, I was not carefully I'm just holding shift and clicking with the brush to draw a straight line. Alright, let's wipe out all this. Get rid of all that distraction. Okay, we'll just keep doing that. We don't want any distracting lighting or weird things. I just did that because I'm completionist. Alright, and let's grab this. So we're just hitting Control C. We're going to use Photoshop, Inkscape, and ChatGPT. So we're using ChatGPT Pro. That's really important. Okay, and I just used my marquee tool here and went around it and left some space on the sides, and then just hit Control C since I've just got the one layer. All right, and so we're just going to tell it to recreate and redraw this design on a black background. Yeah, crisp and sharp, balanced. Oh, what do I want to say? Symmetrical. Okay. I'm going to struggle to spell that word, aren't I? We got two M's. Is that what it is? Two M's, not two T's. Balanced and symmetrical, isolated on black, suitable for vector tracing. All right, we'll just hit create image on that. Boom. Let it go. Let's grab the other one. So this, yeah, and then part of me just wants it to just do the bow. We'll grab the whole thing. We'll duplicate this tab and hit a new chat. And then we'll paste that in. Yeah, and I'm just going to copy that prompt and reuse it. Works perfectly for this. Yep, create image. All right, let's go. So we got those going. So let's go get Inkscape. So we're going to go to inkscape.org. You want to make sure you go to inkscape.org, and then current stable version is great. Windows. I just clicked this 64-bit. I'm not a real App Store type person. Let's just grab this one. Choose if unsure. That's perfect. All right, so you're going to download that. So just clicking it should start the download, I think. Download started, it says. Here she comes. Then you're just going to install it. So you should find that in your downloads folder. That's where it should be downloaded to. And once it gets down, you just double click it to install it. And I probably need to do that one day soon. I'm always nervous about updating my Inkscape and it changing. I'm running a fairly recent version. Yours might look different than mine. There's one thing that you want to do when you get it started. You should have this window over here to the right. And I like to arrange them, right? So the first one would be layers and objects. There's your layers and objects folder. And the next one is fill and stroke. So I just go to path and, it's object, sorry. Object fill and stroke, right? Okay. And then the next one is trace bitmap. That is path, trace bitmap. So clicking each one of these should like open them over here. And if you have extras, you don't need them. You can just scoot them around. So you can just grab this and move it around. And then I do export next. Yep. So file, export, sorry. And then the next one that I use is text and font. Sometimes I have my align and distribute actually in front of my text and font. I think my menu is kind of messing up here. Look, it just moved. All right. So there's my align and distribute. There's my text and font. It's really struggling. I'm not sure what's wrong. But, align and distribute is object, align and distribute. And then text and font. So those are the windows that I need on a regular basis that I keep open all the time. Yeah, my Inkscape is struggling. So the other thing that you need to do is figure out how to set up your checkerboard. So document properties, make sure checkerboard is checked. There's a way to set that in your preferences, and I'm going to go find out if I can. Okay, so I've just asked Google. So it says go to File, Document Properties, find the background section under the Page tab. Check the box for checkerboard background. Go to File, Save Template, name the template, and check the box that says Set as Default Template. I guess that's how I did it. You can also manually save or configure your SVG file directly into user configurations and name the file default.svg. So that's, I guess, how I did it. Let's see if we can figure that out. So we got it set the way we want it, and then we do File, Save Template. I see, and then Set as Default Template. Okay, well that's cool. Yeah, that's exactly how you do that. So I really can't do an Inkscape tutorial without talking about logos by Nick. So this man has got everything figured out. He's incredible. He just does a wonderful job. If you need a logo, I think you should go to Nick, or you should design your own, because he has got just an incredible wealth of videos, and it's all with Inkscape. I don't think that he ever really defers. Like 51 minutes ago, the magic of clipping paths. Like, what a guy. He literally makes the best tutorials. He's way better at Inkscape and tutorials than I am. So if you want to learn Inkscape, this is your man. Logos by Nick right here. Okay. So let's see what chat's done for us. Let's go find that window. Here it is. So we've got this Wildcats cheer, just bigger, easier to work with than it was on the back of that t-shirt. And here's Becky, and she's cut off, but that doesn't matter. So we just need that bow really in this placement. Okay, so now we've got those coming down. Now we're going to pull them open and upscale. So I'm just going to grab this one, and we just want to upscale it, a couple of times here. It doesn't need to be much. Let's go 5 times. Let's go 4 times. Let's just not make it so much. And then, so we're not worried about the output resolution. We just want a clean select. And these are real simple shapes, so that should work for this too. We'll just go ahead and upscale those. And upscale.org is free, so you go to upscale.org, and you're just going to click on desktop and then Windows, or whatever version you have. I think the Mac one might make you pay. I'm just not sure about that. So that's a disclaimer. Okay, so let's grab both of these. I'm going to cut them, and I'm going to put them in pieces. So this is my pieces folder, and there they are. And this one, let's view this as large icons. This one is a bow. I would say it's probably the back. And this one, these are going to be so cute, is front. All right. And then we're just going to open this one with Photoshop. All right. And we're going to grab our magic wand and we're going to select, oh, I didn't have contiguous checked, and it really went all over and got everything just the way I wanted it. So what's my problem? I don't have one. Control C, Control Shift V. So there's my Wildcats blending options. I'm just going to do color overlay, and we will choose the black. We're going to set that to black. Perfect. And then we're going to go turn that off, turn this on, grab the white, Control C, Control Shift V, blending options, color overlay. Okay. It didn't copy anything. I think because I had the wrong. So we'll just reselect Control C, Control Shift V, and then we'll copy that layer style and paste it on this layer style. There we go. And I'm just going to delete on this layer. So there's our two layers. And now we're just going to turn one of them off and do File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. And I'm going to put it in my pieces. So this is going to be my front. I'm going to call this Wildcats Cheer Front Trace. All right. And then we'll turn this on. We'll turn this off. No, come on, Mike. Here we go. And we'll just export this, or export the other layer. Wildcats. Yeah, I'll just take off the word cheer. Front trace. All right, save. All right, now we'll pull open an Inkscape. And I'm just going to take the folder and slide it over here. But what I'm going to be doing is just selecting these two and then dragging them in and hitting OK. And hitting OK. All right, and then I'm going to click once. I'm not moving anything. I'm just going to use my minus key and zoom out. And then I'm going to do Control Shift R. Okay? I'm going to Control Z that now. Control Z. That's the same as doing File, Document Properties, Resize the content. And so you see it resized to the actual image dimensions because I haven't traced these images. So it's got these lined up perfectly. If we were worried about them not being lined up, we could select them and go to our line and distribute. Make sure we're aligned to page, turn that move align selection as group off, and just line them up. I don't see any movement. They are lined up. So we're just going to trace them both. We're going to select the bottom one and we're going to trace it, hit apply, and there's the path, and we'll call that Wildcats. And then we'll delete this image. So I'm just hitting delete, and then we'll grab this one and we'll trace it. I'm just hitting apply, not changing anything. And then we'll delete that image and we'll call that cheer. Okay, and then we want to get our colors in. So we're going to go actually back to our actual concept and pull those colors in. So I'm just going to pull that in and scale it up real big. And then I'm going to grab my Wildcats and I'm just going to select it. I'm going to move to the fill and stroke. I'm just selecting that color. We'll just grab it from this big clear part of that bow. And then this one, we don't need to grab the color. We know it's white. I mean, if it's getting close to white, real close to white, we want to just make it white. We'll hit delete on that. So here is the front vectorized, ready to go. And it's now, there's no pixels. It's perfect. And you could obsess about this more and make sure things were centered. But I mean, I think it's pretty good. So we're just going to do Control Shift R so that it's trimmed around the design. And then we're going to do File, Save As. And we're going to save this as, in our downloads, Wildcats Cheer. And this is Wildcats Cheer Fret SVG. I'm just putting SVG on there just to help people that might not have their file extensions shown. So I'm just going to save that. And then I'm going to export a version of it too. We're going to do 4500px. And I'm going to change this to say PNG. 4500px mic RTP. And export. Boom. Okay. So now we're going to do the fun part. And what do I mean by that? We're going to do the little bit harder part where we've got to deal with the bow and the text. So let's do that. So let's grab this, open that with Photoshop, and we're just going to grab our bow. That's all we care about. Control C, Control Shift V. And we're just going to do a color overlay on that. So we'll do blending options, color overlay, okay. And then we're going to export this. And I'm going to export it as Wildcats Cheer Pieces. I'm going to call it Wildcats Bow Back Trace. Boom. And then I'm going to stay in this same document. I'm saving it, right? I'm just going to save it. And then I'm just going to drag these things in. And we'll save it as something else. So I'm going to grab both that bow back and that, so that's like the rendered upscale ChatGPT image, and this is the trace. We'll pull those in and hit OK. And hit OK. And then we're just going to delete these paths. And I'm going to go ahead and save this as Wildcats Cheer. I'm going to call it Bow Back SVG. Save. All right. And then we'll just go to our trace. Obviously, that's not what we want. Okay. So that's not the one. This is ref. And we'll just push it down. And then here's our image. I'm going to trace the bow, and we're going to hit apply. And then we're going to delete this image, and this we're going to name bow. Okay. And then we're going to change the color, and I totally should have left that other SVG open, because now I'm going to have to go get the color out of there. So let's just select this. Let's look at our color. Control A, Control C. This is where you could set it to your actual school color, which would be really nice to know the exact hex code. So we'll just pop that in there. And there's the bow. And here's our ref. So now we need a font, right? So where do we get the font? What fonts are out there? Let's go to Font Space. And let's look for collegiate. And let's type Becky. You know, you're not going to find the exact font. Here's College Block. College Block looks pretty good. So, you know, it's a little squished version of College Block, isn't it? Let's just run with that. All right, so, you know, the way you deal with this, you know, if you're new to graphics, you know, you're just going to download it. That font's going to come down. You're going to open it up. So I'm just literally like, here's the downloads. I'm just opening up the zip file. Don't even have to extract it. And just double click on this and hit install. And it's like, oh, it's already installed. Sure. Replace it. We don't care. No, we're good. We don't need to do that. We'll stop. But hit yes, so that it installs for you if you don't have it. And then we're just going to type, right? We're going to grab our text tool and we're going to type like over here. We're just going to click once and I'm going to type a B. And then I'm going to hold control so I don't scale it. Make it bigger. And then we're going to go to our fill and I'm just going to make it black. And then stroke, we don't want any. Okay, and then here's our text and font, and I'm just gonna search for college. And here's our college block. And I'm gonna apply. And there it is. Wow, it's really close. It's pretty much what it is. Let's make it a color we can see. And let's line her up. Let's make it a little bit less opaque. You know, let's just bring it down a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to hold control as we scale it. We want to keep it from distorting until we get close. And I'm just going to put it in that top corner. I'm going to hit the plus key on my numpad. And then I use my middle mouse button to move. So squish down your middle mouse button like it's a, like it's a button, which it is. And then we're just going to scrunch it. And then we're just going to stretch it. And that is our close enough college block. Okay. And I don't know if Inkscape has a vertical type tool. I never have tried to use it. I'm not going to worry about it. This is my B. I'm going to do a duplicate layer and I'm going to scoot it down, just place it manually. So I'll use that spacing there. Yep. Let me just, I'm interested in making sure my spacing's consistent. And I think the AI has not done a very good job. So I'm just going to tighten it up just a little bit. And then we'll just type the E. So we're grabbing our text tool. We got our B selected. Oh, is that not going to work for us? Text. That's weird. I'm just wanting to edit this, man. So see me struggling? I'm going to pause and figure out what's wrong. Oh, I think when I squished it, it actually converted it from being a text. So that's a little bit weird. Let's try this. B. Okay. So when I squish it, there's something I did converted it from being a text. It must have been just some step that I took, maybe a command I placed. Don't know, but we will fix it. I'm gonna lock our ref and lock our bow because we're not planning on changing those. And I'm just placing this up in the corner. You know, you don't have to be precise here. Well, we can send. It's not that particular. Right? And I'm just letting it deform. There we go. All right. And then text. Yeah, now we can type. I don't know. I have no idea what happened. I'll call this B. And then I will delete these two. And then there's my B. I'm just going to duplicate it. And we'll bring it down. I'm holding control to keep it locked on that axis. And I'm just splitting the difference here just a bit. And then we're just going to do backspace E. Okay. I think it's left aligned. So let's just take these. We'll go to our text and fonts. Or we'll just select our text tool. And we'll make them centered. That's good. And we may be centering them even more. Let's make sure this one's centered. So A, yeah, it's set to center. but they're not centered. So let's do align and distribute, and we'll center them relative to selection area. Now they're centered. Okay. And then we'll just do the rest of it. So we're going to do Becky. There's our two B's. This is not B. This is E. We will duplicate it. You know, and I shouldn't be naming them actually B and E, or should I? They should be like 1 letter 1. Yep. Letter 2. Okay. And then we can just keep, we'll keep our ref in the background at all times to keep us like kind of on track. So let's duplicate this one, bring it down. And we just kind of split the difference. No, we don't want to split the difference now. Now we want a spacer that actually, you know, we can use to line things up. So let's turn on, I'm going to turn off all the other layers, but let's turn on snap. And I'm going to try to draw a spacer. So see it's snap in there. All right. There's probably a real easy way to do this, and I just don't know what it is. And I'm going to pull this down and try to get it to snap. So this is my spacer. I don't need to name it. So I don't want it to snap here. I'll pull this out of the way. Snap to there. And then I can pull this up and snap it. And then I'll just go ahead and position this for the next one. Snap it. All right. So we think this is, oh, this has got that path. It's converted from a letter. See, it's got that. So whatever I did before, you know, whatever shortcut or operation I did, I actually did it again. So here's our letter 2. Let's duplicate that. We'll pull this down. Have it snap. I'll pull this down and I'll call this letter 3. Boom. And then we'll grab our rectangular, pull it down, snap it, duplicate. Okay. Pull it down. See, as long as it's got that little text symbol next to it, then it's still a text object. We'll call this letter 4. And then we will duplicate it. We'll pull it down. I'm going to pull it way out of the way. Grab my rectangle, pull it down, snap it to the bottom. Oh gosh. Hold on, let's just deselect everything. Control Shift R to reorganize ourselves. It was having trouble snapping. Okay, and then we're done. We'll just take this rectangle and we'll put it down here below everything, and we'll turn it off and lock it. And we'll turn our ref back on, or our bow. We can turn our ref back on, and we'll see how much we deviated. Yeah, that's just how off that thing was. You know, ours is perfect because we measured. Okay, and I'm going to turn off snapping because it's going to get annoying real fast. And we'll just call this a C. Click here. Call this a K. And that's a Y. All right. And now let's set the colors of all these. So I'm just going to select, oh, letter 4 is still called letter 4. I'm going to put up letter 5. Oops. And see, I'm moving things up and down in the stack right here. And then we'll just select all of these and we will make them fully opaque and we'll make them white. Okay. And I think a little align and distribute is good. We can now go back to the align to the page. Wow, they're perfectly centered on the page. And then let's make sure that bow is also centered on the page. It's perfect. Awesome. And, you know, keeping the ref in the background's a good idea, but we don't need it anymore. And now I'm just gonna, with that ref selected though, let's do, oh no, let's just select off of it and do Control Shift R. And there's our Becky. And that's done. Okay, so we'll save this as our bowback SVG. Yeah, that's fine. We already saved it. And it's ready to go. And now if all you need is this college block. All right. And I mean, this I guess is for my team. Copy that. Let's put it in the folder for her. So pieces, Control V. There's the college block font ready to go. And then here's the SVGs. And like for this one, just to show how to render it, let's do that. Okay, so how do I use it? So I got Inkscape installed. I'm ready to do the bowback. Okay. So now I've opened it up and I want to change these. So you could just, turn on your ref to give yourself something to see. And you can just come back here and you can just change this. Let's do mark. So we're going to do M. And then we're going to click here, A, click here, R, and then there's K, and then your letter 5, just hide it, okay? And then turn your ref off. And then you're ready to do it. So you're going to do Control-Shift-R to fit it. So now it's fit. Oh, doesn't seem to work. Control-Shift-R. Oh, there's something holding it open. I'm going to select everything. Control-Shift-R. Interesting. Is the bow locked? Yeah, it's locked. All right. Select everything. Control-Shift-R. I do not know why that's holding open at the bottom there. That is really bugging me. I don't get it. I don't see anything there. It could be something in this vector object. Let's look. Let's select the bow. And let's turn on points. Yeah, there's little hidden points. Oh my gosh, look at those. Well, that was it. So there was just little hidden points down there. Now Control-Shift-R. There must be more. Bow. Nodes. Yep. Oh, they're all over this thing. Look at that. Get out of here. Control-Shift-R. Okay. Control-Shift-R. Okay. Let's save this version. Save. And now we're going to export it. So we're just going to go to export. We're going to say 4500. Or no, it's way too tall. Let's do 5700. Okay. And then can't change the DPI. So we're going to call this bowback PNG mic RTD. Oh, we should also call it, Wildcats cheer mark. And put mark in front. That way it'll alphabetize and export. So there's mark. And let's look at our downloads here. Here's our Wildcats cheer. There's our mark right here. Here's our front. Here's our mark. We've got to open these with Photoshop and just set the DPI. So you open them up, image size. Let's just set this. You want to turn off resample. Set this to 300. So it's 8 inches wide by 19 inches tall, and you can always scale it down. Can't make it bigger. And then you just hit save. Okay, so let's look at that one more time. Let's open up this front. We're going to open with Photoshop. And we're going to do image size. And the resolution is 300. And so it's 15 by 14. Yep, okay. And then you just hit save. And then that's all you do. Okay, well that's the whole tutorial. And I'll put all this up in the folder, and you can have at it. In fact, I'll probably try to link that in the YouTube video too, just if anybody needs it. All right, thanks for watching our tutorials. Thanks for buying your DTF transfers from Crystal DTF. That's what allows me to continue to give this education, is trying to help our wonderful customers. You are so appreciated. Have a great day. Bye.